Another edition of Flea Market Fantasy, the world's second greatest Bronze Age era comic book podcast. Joining me as always is new Michael, Kevin Jank.
I'm here, Mike Dell, and tell the kids what, fun-filled hijinks and just all around comedy book we're doing this week on the show.
So we're doing a book about a fella who wants to see his dying mother.
Yeah.
It's very, very happy. But this issue is Concrete, issue 10 from 1988, I think is when this came out. Yes, it's in
Yeah, sounds about
88.
right.
This was from Dark Horse Comics by the writer artist Paul Chadwick. And this is a very famous comic book, I would say. Because growing up, I heard about it a lot.
Yeah.
First time I've ever read it. I take it you've never read The Concrete.
Nope, have not. Again,
I
yeah, I've
will.
definitely seen the character, like I've seen this face and stuff, but I've never
Yeah.
never actually sat down to read it.
Yeah, you described him last week kind of like a thing, but he's all smoothed over without the rocky
Yeah.
like lines. And yeah, he's a big like concrete monster kind of guy. But he looks
Yeah.
like a happy little fella. He's got two eyes and a big mouth. And
Gotta say his
just a
origin, not what I was expecting.
yes, that's what I wanted to talk about. This
Yeah.
is not what I expected at all. And we'll get into that
No.
in a minute. But before we do, let's remind everybody if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We're up to 448 subscribers. So we picked up three.
Ooh.
I don't understand because no one is watching Captain Atom. Like, not a single person has watched that video, I don't think. So that's something.
Man, we're missing out on
And
some good Dr. Spectro.
uh, I didn't even bother making any little short video because no one watched the last ones I did. So who cares, you know?
Ooh, the dream is dead.
Yet we somehow picked up three subscribers. I don't know. Weird. But the goal is to get to 500 subscribers, and Jank will make me read The Dark Knight Returns, and I do not want to do that, so I really don't care if we
All the
get
more
to.
reason to jump on board.
Also have a book out there called Monkey Flip about Chimp. All right, so Concrete. This is basically, when I think of this Concrete after reading it, this is basically like every indie comic book that's been published in the last 30 years.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, you're not wrong.
But the key here is this is a pioneer. Like none of that other stuff had existed. This was kind of breaking, blazing that trail to
Yeah.
these kind of independent. So you need to respect the concrete for that. But this is the brainchild of Paul Chadwick, and this fella, this Paul Chadwick guy, he was born in 1957 in Seattle, and he graduated from the Art Center College of Design. And he started his professional career by drawing storyboards for Disney, Warner Brothers, Lucasfilm, and other studios. And he contributed to such films as Pee-wee's Big Adventure and Strange Brew.
Holy hell. That's
Good.
pretty good.
You work on those movies, yeah.
Yeah.
In 1986, he drew the final five issues of Dazzler.
Hell yeah. Oh yeah, that was when she actually got the good like 80s costume, and I think a lot of them were kind of in the outback.
I have no idea. But did those. And then later that year, he created Concrete. And this ran for 10 issues at Dark Horse Comics. And we're reading issue 10, the final issue of the series.
Yeah.
But
How will they
since
conclude this epic?
but since then, there's been five limited series. The most recent in 2004, 2005, and there were two one shots. I think one in 1998, and then the last one in 2012.
Hmm. I
And in
saw that at the
1980,
end of this one, they were like, issue number 11 is going to be a little bit, but they were
yeah, it never,
promising it was still coming.
never, never showed up.
Nope.
In 1989, he won the Eisner Award for Best Writer Artist, and he was nominated for three Harvey Awards. No idea Steve
Wow.
Harvey was giving out awards back in 1989. In 2000, he drew issues 46, 47, and 48 of Deadpool.
Oh shit.
Love Deadpool.
Wow. Okay. That was, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, that was probably right around like the Jimmy Palmiotti era.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it. He did some other like he did a couple Star Wars things, and he did some other stuff over the years, but he it was never like any long runs on any like mainstream titles or anything. So
I gotta
there
say, I
you go.
like
And
his
I think
style.
he
It's very detailed. It's very good looking.
yeah, it's a smooth, no wasted lines, very smooth, uh, polished. I don't know how to describe this.
Like Concrete himself.
Simplistic, yeah,
Smooth and
simplistic,
polished.
but yeah, it's well illustrated. So, all right. So this character, Concrete, his real name is Ron Lithgow. I guess it's a tribute to John Lithgow. I don't know. It seems a
Yeah.
weird thing to do, but it's like his
Maybe
brother
Paul Chadwick
Ron
also hates dancing.
and his well, but loose reference getting in and out there. And Concrete's first appearance was in Dark Horse Presents issue 1, 1986. And all right, so well, I read that. I went back and read that, and it really doesn't. It opens up in a weird way. I'll explain it in a minute. But
Hmm.
this Ron Lithgow, he was a former speechwriter for a U.S. senator who gets abducted by aliens and has his brain placed inside a monstrous artificial body. After
Yep.
performing after performing several tests and examinations on him, the government allows Concrete to live on his own with the cover story that he's a government cyborg. And he's kind of like famous. Like he's that government cyborg. That's that guy. Like he went on the Tonight Show and stuff with Johnny Carson. So when that first Concrete story opens, oh, there are two other people we need to discuss real quick. He's got a personal assistant named Larry Monroe,
Yeah.
and he's like a grad student. He wants to be a novelist, and he just does all the things for Concrete that Concrete can't do, because he's a big, monstrous concrete guy. So he has trouble like holding pens and stuff and like, opening letters and things like that.
Don't worry,
So
Concrete, I'll make love to your girlfriend. Bye-bye.
yeah, Concrete has no sex organs. He's all
Yeah.
smooth down there. So and then there's a lady that is always with him, Dr. Maureen Vonnegut, and she's there to monitor his artificial body because he's like, even though he's made of concrete, she can somehow get bodily fluids out of him, like with a
Yeah. Like drills into
syringe.
him and just kind of,
Yeah.
yeah.
But she's there to monitor his body and stuff for the government, I guess, keep tabs on him. But the government doesn't want him telling anybody that he is Ron Lithgow, former U.S. senator, so speechwriter. So he has to like keep that quiet, you know.
Yep.
He, for the world, he's just concrete, a cyborg guy, big artificial body. And even though he's a big hulking creature, he's very nimble on his feet, it seems. Like he can jump,
Yeah.
you know.
He sure
Like
can.
I thought he was gonna be like he is big and heavy. Like so at his little apartment or house or wherever they're living, the only chair he has is made of big cinder blocks. Is
Hmm.
that's the only thing that will support him. And like when he like picks everything he touches, he kind of like damages because he's like, scratchy and hard and everything. So
Yeah.
like if you notice in this book, like the telephone, it's all chipped up and cracked from him talking on it and stuff.
Hmm.
So those kind of details are pretty awesome. But even though he's this big hulking fella, his artificial body allows him to like jump like a monkey. And
Yeah, it's like
I
I
was
guess the kind of
surprised.
like the Hulk, where it's like he's got the super strong legs that can make him jump around.
Yeah, I was shocked. I thought he'd just be this big, heavy, plodding fellow.
Yeah,
With
like the Blob.
he's also really strong and incredible endurance. He like he
Oh,
doesn't need to like breathe really or anything. Like he can hold,
he could
he
play
can stay
basketball all
underwater
day without even a Gatorade.
probably. So all right, so yeah, this concrete fella. Now, when that first story opens, he and his buddy Larry are going through
Oh,
his fan mail. Yeah, I have a buddy Larry, and he has a buddy
yeah.
Larry, like twins. But they're going through his fan mail from his recent Tonight Show appearance. And Larry's reading out the letters, and some are just nice, some are just crazy people. And it's kind of funny, like a little there's humor in there. He's telling him where to file the different things, and but this concrete, he's a very how would you describe him? Like oh shoot, I don't know, kind of like a fancy guy. Like you could tell he was like a scholarly fellow, you know.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. He's a speechwriter. He's probably got like, a writing degree.
Yeah, he the way he thinks like he's smart, you know, he's very philosophical about his situation. And
Yeah, that's very true.
yeah. So anyway, but he's talking to Larry about sorting out this all this fan letter, you know, and some lady sends him a fan letter. She says she really wants his sexy body, and
Oh.
she encloses a Polaroid of herself, you know, and and Concrete says, you know what, I'll hold on to this, but you can file her letters, you can file those other letters, and so then he gets a letter from a lady saying that she's inviting him to a Hollywood, like a party in LA or whatever, and she will pay him $1,500 just to come and mingle with her guests because he's such a celebrity.
Wow.
So, so he says, "All right, let's do this. You know, we need to get some money here." So him and his buddy Larry, they go over to the party, and here they get there. It's just a party of 8-year-olds, some 8-year-old's birthday.
Oh
And
no.
and when he shows up, the mom's like, "Hey, I can't believe you, thanks for showing up. By the way, you know, I'm not paying you that money. I just lied about that. So I cannot give you that money. But I figured it'd be worth it for the kids to at least see you, even if you storm away, you know." But really, when you think about it, there, Concrete, what kind of a person are you that you would take money just to appear at a party? Says a lot about you. So he's like, "Oh man, I guess that's
Jeez,
right."
giving him the
I know.
business.
So he's like, all right, he's already here. The kids are real happy. He's like, all right. So he hangs out with the kids. He plays with the kids. You know, everybody has a real good time. And she's talking about all these other celebrities she's had at parties over the years because she plays the same trick on them and stuff, and it just gets people to show up. Um, so it's a pretty interesting little
Is her
story.
name Jeffrey Epstein?
And then so at the end, you know, it seems like he had a really nice stage, and she's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna." He's like, "Oh, I'll remember this. You know, this little party we had here. Thank you." And he's like, I'm sure you're going to remember it too, or whatever. And then when he's driving away, you see in the background that at some point, Concrete took her car and put it on top of her garage. So,
Uh-huh.
little joke, but it's a funny little story. So, but the point of that is that we have no idea why he is Concrete at that point.
Oh, that's
We,
interesting. Was this the first
yeah,
time it was revealed then in this very issue?
no, I thought that as
Okay.
well. I thought, wow, so maybe this is the in the final issue they finally reveal, but
Yeah.
it's not until issue 3 that you find out why he is Concrete. And he tells the story to his buddy Larry while they're hanging out on a cruise ship, it seems. And then like, so we get the full issue is basically the entire tale. And then in this issue, we just get like a 1-page summary of it or something like that. But
Yeah. Because every
so
comic is someone's first comic. Even in the last issue, you got to try to spell it out for people. Here's why you should have been reading this book.
but in the book, yeah, he's talking to his mom, so he's filling her in, so we get the
Yeah.
recap. But yeah, so in the first, I didn't read the first issue, but I did look at the first couple pages, and yeah, it just opens up with more of the same. Like everyone loves Concrete, like he's a celebrity, and they're trying to, you know, just go about their business.
Hmm.
So, the
Now,
aliens,
I know there was a bunch of stories in like the Dark Horse Presents comic. Did those come first and then it got his own book?
yeah, that's a good question. I don't know how many issues of Dark Horse Presents he was in. I know he
Okay.
was in that first one.
Seems like most of them.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like an
So,
ongoing feature.
yeah. So that's a very good point. Um, Also, what was I going to say here? So, yeah, he tells the story. Blah, blah, blah. So, him and his buddy Mike Maynard, they're out camping one night and they found a cave. And they went in the cave, and the next thing you know, they're passed out and they wake up, and now their brains are in the bodies of these concrete monsters.
Yeah.
And
There's a bunch of them. A whole bunch of
yeah,
these concrete monster guys.
these aliens are doing experiments and they're taking brains out of animals and putting them into these monsters. And then they're taking I think, they're just swapping brains from animals to people and people to these monsters and
Yeah, and I think they were putting their brains into the people's bodies, right? Or something like that. I got the impression that
I have
the aliens'
no
brains
idea.
were they were taking the human bodies.
No idea. But but they're being held as prisoners there, like little slaves, and our buddy Ron Lithgow and his buddy Mike Maynard, they lead a little revolt. They steal some weapons and they get out of there. Just the two of them, they escape. But then his buddy says, "Hey, I was just doing this so you could escape, but I don't want to live like this."
Yeah.
So so he kicks him off a mountain like a cliff down into some water, and then he goes back to the aliens and just gives into the aliens. And then the aliens fly off. Their spaceship just goes away because their spaceship was like tucked inside a mountain, so it just looked like a mountain.
Yeah. Apparently it'd been there for God knows how long.
Mm. So the aliens flew away. He has no idea what happened to Mike Maynard, and then everything else happens there. So yeah, each issue then it's like him just going about his life trying to you know remember what it's like to be human in this monstrous body. And yeah, it's very philosophical and kind of considers societal ills and all kind of things like that. And but
Yeah.
yeah, so
This one's very much just a small scale story of a guy trying to see his mom before she dies.
yeah, and you get nice little comments on death and life and the meaning and all that. So yeah, it's fun. All right, so let's anything else about Concrete or Paul Chadwick that Jake?
I didn't even remember that thing about Deadpool, so no.
Fair enough. All right, well let's look at the cover of issue 10 here. Why don't you describe it for the people?
Okay, so up in the corner there, we got the Dark Horse Comics logo, which really is one of the best kind of logos. I really love that. The little knight chess piece they got as their logo. Really
Yep.
cool. Big fan. And then just a very small number 10. It's just kind of in its own little tiny ass box. And there's a big uh, diagonal kind of triangle in the other corner. It says winner of 2 Harvey Awards and 3 Eisner Awards for a book that hasn't only, been around only 10 issues. That's pretty good. They're just giving out awards like nobody's business. Then we got Paul Chadwick's Concrete. It's not a very like concrete looking title font. It's just kind
Yeah.
of more fantasy almost. Um, and then there's just a big, there's like an orange background, like a frame going around the page, and then kind of in the middle there is a different kind of orange and kind of yellow gradient. And you just see a big kind of painting of concrete there, standing there in like a spotlight, just kind of looking up towards the heavens. And he's
Yeah.
smooth as a Ken doll, like you mentioned.
But he is very yeah, because the cover's like all orange and yellow. So yeah, he looks very thing like Ben Grimish in this
Yeah.
picture. Just got the
Or like
orange.
the first mark of Iron Man, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Giving us
yeah.
that kind of look.
First Iron Man suit, yes. And at the bottom there we get a little white concrete, and he's holding up a little sign that says "Always Fences."
Yeah. I guess that's the title of
He's
this
like,
issue. Because they
I think
showed that
so.
thing pop up again later on the first
Because
page.
it seems like every issue, like that's what the cover is. There's him down in the corner holding up something. So um, there you go. Now we get some little editorial note here at the beginning. I did not read that.
Yeah, same.
So there we
Sorry,
go.
Randy Stradley. We'll never know what you had to say.
So then we get to we should mention this is all black and white. And
Hmm.
I always
Yeah.
like the black and white comics. I'm a fan. I don't know.
Yeah.
Especially, I hate
It's
modern
definitely.
coloring. Did you ever see modern comic books? Oh my God, the coloring is fantasy.
I
So,
like some modern coloring.
for the new reader, yeah. So the big splash page here is just a close up of a telephone ringing, and like I said, all the phone's all chipped up and cracked just from concrete using it
Yeah.
over the days there. And we get little three insert panels, and the one on the left it says for the new reader. Ronald Lithgow, a senator speechwriter, was not a famous man when he vanished on a camping trip. Only a few friends and family mourned his presumed death. Um, In the middle panel, we get Concrete's face. And actually, he lives on in a massive alien body with inhumanly acute vision. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. He can see like really well. He can see.
Yeah. Because that just goes hand in hand with being a giant rock man.
Yeah. I think it's also, what would you say, a metaphor for how insight he has now into humanity. I guess
Oh,
it.
I get it. Metaphorical.
Solemn promise to the government keeps him from going by any name but Concrete. And then in the insert on the right, we see Maureen and Larry. And among the few privy to his secret are his aide, Larry Monroe, and biologist Maureen Vonnegut, who presently are with him at his Eagle Rock, California warehouse. And the phone is ringing, and Larry picks it up, and it's Senator Douglas. And this is the guy he used to work for. So he's like his
Yeah.
contact to the government. And see Concrete leaning up against his cinder block chair, and Maureen is taking some sort of a fluid sample from his left ankle.
Yep. Just cutting his rocky Achilles right there.
And so the Senator Monroe fella, he uh, he calls him and he tells him, "Hey, your mother's dying. You know,
Yeah.
she's
Surprise.
got cancer everywhere, including vital organs, and with her heart condition, well, something's got to go soon." So he's like, "Oh man, what to do?"
Yeah.
Because everyone thinks
What am I
he's
supposed to do
dead.
now?
You know.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you want to go see your mother when you're a big concrete monster now, and she thinks you're dead. So, what does Concrete decide to do there, Jake?
Well, he kind of talks to the senator. The senator's like, hope you understand the seriousness of the situation. You don't try to do anything stupid. But the senator kind of knows, like, I hope you're smart enough to avoid getting caught. So he's like, I know he's gonna try to go there, but hope he, put some
Yeah,
thought into it.
I'm
And
a
so
little
concrete,
unclear why he couldn't just go like, because he is a celebrity, you know,
yeah,
like people do know him at this point. So the only thing
he's
they're
going to
worried about is he
parties with
doesn't.
8-year-olds all the time. Like, you can just show
Yes,
up at this house. Like, somebody paid me
yeah,
to
I don't
be here. I
understand.
don't
Because they're
know.
worried like people would connect the dots. I'm like, oh, that's really her son. But I mean, it could just be, oh, I heard she was sick and I came to visit her. She's a big fan, one of them deals. So
Yeah.
I'm a little sketchy on why he can't, because it's not like the government is looking for him, right? I mean,
No. I mean, if he's being on talk shows, I would think he's pretty out there in the
yeah.
open.
So I mean, like I thought maybe the senator was like the only guy at the government who was keeping in touch with him, and no one else knows where he is. And but yeah, it doesn't seem like that. So yeah, I am a little sketchy on why he can't just go see her. But anyway,
Yeah.
all right. So,
I'm not quite sure. But Concrete kind of cooks up a plan with Larry, and so Larry calls up that night, and he's like, "I'd like to speak to Elaine Lithgow, please, friend of her son's." "Yes, I know. I promise to be as brief as possible. It's very important, though. Thank you." And so he kind of tells her, "Hey, I'm a friend of your son's. He, gave me a letter that he wants me to give to you." And he's like, "Just in case you think I'm full of shit, like, I know some things about your son." He tells the mom a couple of things that only, her son would know. And he's like, "He made me promise to hand deliver this note to you, so I'm gonna bring this later tonight. Uh, and just be on the lookout for that."
yeah,
And the mom kind of asks, "Hey, do you know anything about Ron's death?" And he says no, because Ron's kind of writing it down on a piece of paper, like, "Hey, yeah, say no. You don't know anything."
yeah, he's listening on his own extension. So, but because he's still not sure, I guess, if he wants to tell his mom he's like in this concrete suit. He has to figure out what he wants to tell his mother still.
Yeah.
You know? So he sits down and he starts to write, and he writes a long letter to his mom. And so I guess he can use pens. He was because I read, oh, he can't use pens. He's writing up a storm. Um,
It's one of those like really good pens that like can the one from like
so
Naked Gun where it's like, oh, it can survive anything except water.
yeah, his mom said she'd call back. She needs to think about this. She'll call back if he wants him to deliver the
Yeah.
letter or whatever. So she
This
calls
might be a
back and says, "All
scam. I'm
right."
gonna have to think about this before I accept.
Yeah, she says, if this is some kind of elaborate con to swindle a dying woman, I will live to see you
I'll
behind
see you in hell.
bars.
Yeah.
Good night. So they go over to deliver the letter, and she has a nurse staying with her, and her nurse's brother is there, trying to act like some muscle in case he's a weirdo. Oh, we should also mention Concrete, their little group. They have a dog. I don't know what the dog's name is, but there's a dog at their warehouse. Because his
Yep.
mother also has a dog who's really annoying. Yarf, yarf.
Oh yeah. It sure was.
And so Larry goes in to talk to the mother, and he gives her the message, and she's reading it, and it's we get several panels of like kind of like flashbacks where you see you read the letter, the text of the letter, the bottom, and then the picture in the panel is like a scene from the past or a memory that he's describing to prove that it's really him. He needs to
Yep.
convince his mother that it's really
Yeah.
him. So he's bringing up all these childhood memories.
Yeah, he knows a lot apparently. He's like, I was a breech birth.
He
My
also
favorite foods as a child
loves
were fizzies.
he also loves Sir Richard Burton.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
much so that he wrote a
Is,
paper on him in high school and got some award, and then his mom got it like published and like actually has a
hey,
like a printed copy of it,
is there a different
bound in
Sir
leather.
Richard Burton that I don't know? Or is this the actor Richard Burton? Is that who they're talking about? Is there some
That's a good
there's some
question.
fancy Richard Burton that I don't know? Because if you're really as a child enamored with Richard Burton, it's a red flag. I think I want to talk to a counselor. So, but yeah, he read such a good paper on Richard Burton, uh, and all his divorces with Elizabeth Taylor, or whatever. I don't know how many times was I don't know. He's a filthy drunk. That's what he's talking about. But this paper was so good that his mother had it leather bound for him so he could
Yeah.
read this Richard Burton paper.
How long is this
Uh,
paper? This is a high school paper, and
yeah,
it's like book length.
I know. It's his master's thesis on Richard Burton. And I wrote a couple swell papers on Garfield when I was in school. My mother never
Oh, nice.
Fine.
The
Right.
plight of Odie.
But then he says, "Hey, I'm Concrete. I'm that government cyborg guy you've seen on the news. That's me." And
Yeah.
he's like, "I'm guessing this is all shocking, but I've taken this step because I would like to see you. Senator Douglas has told me you're very ill. I would like to, and forgive me for being so direct, say goodbye. But beyond this, I want to show you that the story of our family is more than tragedy and early death. I have been given a new chance at life, one with astounding possibilities."
Just wait to hear how good I can see.
You know that chart they show you at the doctor's office? I can stand in the waiting room and I can see it.
They had to
But
make new lines just for me.
like I think maybe 2 issues ago or something, one of the things he did was he just climbed Mount Everest just to show that he could, because he has that
Wow.
endurance. Like his new body allows him to do such things. So, he wanted to
I mean,
experience the
Rocky climbed
life.
a mountain
Yeah.
without even any gear. Just ran right up it.
So he's waiting. He says, "If you have been following my exploits, you know that I have had adventures that would make Bart make Burton himself proud. Yes, the man who slept with Elizabeth Taylor would be proud of my adventures, and I would hope you and Dad as well. I've proved to be more than a bookworm. One note of caution: there are government people who would be furious with me for breaking cover like this. So please do not contact any authorities or even Senator Douglas. I would get him in trouble for this. If you still suspect a con, tell Larry to go, and we will not bother you again. But if you would like to see me, please call the number where you reached Larry last night. Love, Ron. So he's back at the warehouse with Maureen, and they're pacing the floor, waiting to see what's going to happen. And boom, the phone rings, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Hello, hi, mom." Yeah, and
Yeah, the letter was kind of weirdly cold and distant, it felt like.
because I think that's who he is
He's
as a
kind of
person, you know.
pragmatic, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they have a pickup truck, and concrete's in the back of the truck under a blanket, and they're like, oh, kind of like Alf. Remember in Project Alf? They had to get
Yeah,
him out of the
absolutely.
under the blanket.
Well, they
All
took
right.
Concrete to a strip club instead of
So,
his mom's house.
so they show up at the house, and what happens when they get at the house, Jake?
Well, the yappy dog is out back, so Charlotte has to go out back and kind of try to keep the dog under wraps. Um,
Marine, you mean
oh
Marine?
yeah, yeah. And she's like, okay, so she's got food and water. She's giving that to the dog to try to keep it quiet. And then Concrete kind of slowly sneaks in. They got like a different nurse working that night, like not her usual nurse.
All
I
right,
guess that's somehow going to keep things quieter. I don't know how.
all right. I need to interrupt here because there's breaking news. There was a Sir Richard Francis Burton, who was a British explorer, army officer, writer, and scholar from
Oh, okay.
1821 to 1890. I think
Makes a lot more sense.
that does make a lot more sense because just having sex with Elizabeth Taylor, certainly nothing to write home about. Yeah, so all right.
Well, you don't know. You never tried.
All right, so continue with your story.
So he kind of is ducking to get through the door, and he's like, "Hey, it's me." And she's like, "Wow, this is kind of hard to accept. Is that really you?" He's like, "Yeah, he says, I guess we haven't seen each other since Cousin Anne's wedding." And she's like quizzing him, like, "Oh yeah, what was the cake at the wedding?" Which I wouldn't remember. I don't think any of the weddings I've been to. Like, what kind of cake was it?
Well, I think they
Describe the
would
cake
remember
to me.
because, but the cake was banana,
Yeah,
and that's weird.
that
So I
is a
think
weird
people would
cake.
remember that. She probably complained about it, and so that's why he would know it, you know? So, oh yeah,
Yep.
they had the stupid banana cake. Remember that? Yeah. Hey, did you do? I was distracted looking up Richard Burton. Did you mention like he's got little booties on and knee pads and elbow pads and everything?
Oh
Like
yeah, that's true. To try to not
to
take his
try and
big dents out of things.
yeah, he's trying to like protect the house and stuff. So that was
Yeah.
pretty cool. Um, but yeah, so he's talking
Kind
to
of
his
like just
mom.
he's wearing shower caps on like his elbows.
And she's like, I can't believe it, you're alive. And he's, oh, well, Mom, don't start crying. It'll start me up, and I can't in this body. You can. What do
She's like,
you do
"What?
for
What do you mean? What do
release?
you release?"
And what does he do, Jank?
Well, he just projectile vomits like acid apparently everywhere.
Yes,
That's a
just
little
pukes.
unfortunate.
Just pukes a bunch of acid. And it's like eating through the blankets and the flooring. And he's like, Larry, quick, get some baking soda and a
It happened
glass bowl,
again.
some wet paper towels. I can't let this eat through the floor. And apparently, all the acid out of his belly stinks as well. They're all coughing and stuff. And but he's like, "Hey, sorry about that, mom." You know. But so, oh, and he's like, "Maybe so I've learned to accept that there are things I just can't do. I don't have it any worse than someone say confined to a wheelchair. There'll always be barriers between me and what normal people can do, but every adult must eventually face the limitations of his life. We don't get to do and have everything." That's an important quote there.
Yeah.
We play the cards we're
I think you should
dealt.
get this tattooed on you when next time you think about laying on the floor.
and, and this is the hand I've got. And he's explaining how he can jump 10 vertical feet from a standstill. Wow, it's pretty good. And he says, I can see the paint cracks on a house half a mile away at night. That's how good his vision is.
Wow.
Or I can swim for 2 weeks without tiring. I've stood naked on Mount Everest, and it's on the bottom of a mountain lake in Montana. You're also standing naked right now in front of your mother, you weirdo. I've won a fight with a bear. A bear, Mom. I was terrified of bears. Are people really terrified of bears? I mean, yeah, they're terrifying in person, but I think in your everyday life, I don't know how many people are terrified of bears. It's a little strange. Because Yogi Bear, he was great.
Yeah.
And a lot of very popular bears over the years. So, anyway, I digress. But how did you get this way? Your letter had hints, and so then he gives us the backstory of what we already explained: him and his buddy going camping, getting abducted by aliens, getting their brains swapped around,
Yep.
and
Yeah, then it says our own bodies, our old ones, they had bizarre lenses on their eyes, perhaps to stimulate or simulate the acute vision of this body, of this type of body. They conversed with a bear and a deer, similarly equipped. We realized the bear and deer brains occupied our cellmates' bodies, and our old bodies now served alien brains. So I guess yeah, the aliens were putting their brains in their old bodies.
yeah, they had these wacky goggles on too. I guess that's how you can tell them apart. Hey, that guy's
Yeah.
an alien. But yeah, so then he explains everything to her, and he's like, they're holding hands, and she's like, "What happened to Michael?" And he's like, "Many questions, no answers. That's probably why the government wants it secret. My living this lie of being a cyborg is the bargain I made to live free and independently. I recently learned I make the Soviets very nervous. They have no cyborgs. But of course, all that could be just what our government wants." And then there's a silent panel of them sitting there quietly. And then he says, "Mom, I know Dad committed suicide." And he's looking all sad. And
Yeah.
she's all sad as well. And she says, "I
He's like,
so wanted you
yeah.
not to find out." Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he his note, he left one, begged me not to tell the insurance begged me not to tell. The insurance money put you through college, you know. He gave his life to that damn company, rejected other offers through the years, then they sold it and he was dropped without a thought. Boy, this sounds familiar. An engineer doesn't start over at 51. The field changes too quickly, and they don't like to hire somebody who will get a pension in 14 years. A man needs to feel useful, Ron. He needs worthwhile work. I watched him fall apart day by day. He had been so strong. I suppose his story's been relived a lot lately with all this merger mania.
Yeah, merger mania, Jay. Yeah, it's going on even
Yeah,
back then. But
California
can
raisins and merger mania.
can you imagine trying to start over at 51? Oh my God, oh no. Oh no. Should I be driving
Yeah.
off a cliff? Might,
Between
I
this and
might,
the substance, it's not looking good for people over 50.
I might need to get in the car. I'll I'll write to you sometime, maybe. All right, so Larry comes in there and says, "Hey, there's police at the door because the neighbors saw them, and she was concerned that they were going to try and rob the old lady's house there. So she called the cops just to check on things. So they're hurrying up, cleaning up all the acid eroded things on the floor,
Hmm.
and Concrete slips out the back door, and he says, "Just in case, I love you, Mom, and I'm happy in my life. Goodbye." And he leaves. So the cops come in and they're smelling the stink of the acid vomit. And the one cop's like, "Oh my God, what's that smell?" And the other cop says, "It's the smell of death." I've smelled it a lot because I've been around a lot of 51-year-olds who are trying to start over.
Yep. They don't know the career death they're upon.
They fill their empty lives with podcasts, something that will be invented in 32 years. Or, but anyway, so the cops go around looking outside for him, and the dog's barking, so they know someone's back there. And Concrete he's hiding behind a fence, and he throws a garbage can laid out front of the house to distract them. And he's hopping over fences and he's running through neighbors' yards. The cops are chasing him. He falls into a swimming pool. He's going to
Yeah.
just stay under the water because he could stay there for weeks.
Yeah,
But
it's dark. He's like, they'll never see me in here.
but then the owner comes out with a gun and he's like, "Oh man." So he hops out of the pool and he goes jumping over, and the dog's no, another dog is barking at him. I don't know, or is that the same
Yeah,
dog?
a lot of little dogs in this neighborhood.
Yeah. So then the dog jumps over and lands in the pool, and the cops come, and the owner's got a gun, and um, so they
There's a
get
weird shot of like
distracted
the
with each
owner
other.
holding the gun where like the gun looks way too small or something to me. Like the way he's
Yeah,
holding it's weird.
yeah, it's not the best looking gun. And but Concrete eventually gets away while the cops are arguing with the homeowner, and he's hiding in the bushes, just waiting to see if Larry or Maureen will come by. And sure enough, Larry and Maureen come by in the pickup truck, and he goes running and jumping into the back of the pickup truck, and it,
Yeah,
it pops the
that's gonna
back
break the
tire.
shocks.
Yeah. So he has to go out and change the tire. He's just doing it by hand, no jack needed, because he's super strong and he says I'm
Yeah.
faster. And while Larry gets the spare out, here come more cops, and
Yep.
they stop him to see what's going on. But Maureen distracts them by showing her bosoms. She opens up her blouse. She's
Yep. She's
flashing the
showing a lot of
cleavage.
bra there, yeah. And they're just like, "Oh, hey, you have a
So
good night, lady."
so they don't even notice that there's no jack. And
One's like, "I swear, man, she was coming on to me." Not you, pal, your uniform. You'll find a lot of them like that. Well, I remember one time, and then we don't get to hear the rest of that story, sadly.
Concrete is hiding behind the truck. So they get in the truck, they drive home, and Concrete, he's wrapped up in a blanket in the back of the truck, and he's like, man, he's wondering if he still has his bound copy of the paper on Burton. And again,
Hmm.
not Richard Burton, the actor. That's what I've learned here. It's very important. I learned that.
Yeah, I guess that picture of him on the cover of the leather-bound version should have tipped
It
us off that maybe
it
that
looked like
wasn't
he was playing like I thought he was like a
yeah,
photo
like a
of him playing like
Shakespeare
yeah,
photo or
King Lear
something.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's all.
exactly.
Yeah, no, I don't know. So anyway, 1 week later, the phone rings and Concrete picks it up, and it's Senator Douglas, and he says, "Hey, your mom died. It's
Yeah.
and he's like, oh, that's sad." And Maureen's giving him mail. There's a letter addressed to Mr. C.
Mr.
And
Cunningham?
yes. And but yeah, he opens up the package, and it's his leather-bound copy of Burton.
Yeah.
His mom sent him the book. Um, And so then that Saturday, Larry and Maureen go to the funeral, and they're wired up with like a little microphone so uh, Concrete can listen at home. And you hear the priest give a eulogy, and it's a nice little thing. And um, Concrete's sitting in his chair reading his Burton book. And again, we get the quote, I've learned to accept that there are things I just can't do. There will always be barriers between me and what normal people can do. But every adult must eventually face the limitations of his life. We don't get to do and have everything. We play the cards we're dealt. And
Hmm.
that last quote is over a full splash page of him sitting in his chair reading his book, and Larry's behind him, Marine's next to him, and the dog's at his feet. So yeah, he's got a nice little life going for him now, I guess. So that's it. That's the concrete.
Yeah.
What do you think?
A lot of pages, but for pretty simple story overall. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't know if I'm going to say this deserves all the Harvey and Eisner awards based off of this one issue, but
Yeah.
it's certainly it's a solid indie comic. It's low
Yeah,
stakes, but
again,
it was an interesting story. It was kind of time it did kind of tie into the Captain Adam that we just did last week with the government coming up with a bogus story and trying to
that is
spin a
true. Yeah.
lie and all that kind
Didn't
of
think of
stuff.
that.
So it was very similar.
But yeah, you really have to put it in the context of the time it was made.
Yeah, it's
Because
true.
now reading this, there's nothing really special about it, I don't think, because we've seen so many times of a story like this being done in indie comics, but this was like the first. So
Yeah,
um,
that's true. Yeah, just taking
er,
a modern, just kind of a normal life for a big rocky creature guy instead of making it these big fantastical adventures was a novel
yeah, because the
concept
the
at the
book is
time.
very it's very reality based once you get past aliens putting a brain inside it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It's like that one
everything,
fantastical element, but then
yes,
yeah, they try to buckle
everything
down
else
after
is
that.
grounded in realism and human interactions and the nature of humanity and that kind of stuff and what it all means. So yeah, I really appreciate that. It's not exactly a thrill ride, you know. So just
No?
but it's well illustrated, it's well written, just a
Yeah,
quaint, quiet little story. Um,
it was kind of fun watching him like, try to hop fences and just kind of get away from the
yeah.
cops.
Again, I'm not sure why he had to do all that. Like, but anyway.
Yeah, yeah. Gotta be easier
So
ways.
I don't know if I would read more Concrete. It's nice, but I don't know if I'd be too excited to read more of it. In 1986,
Yeah,
87, I probably would, but
for
it just
sure.
feels like
Yeah.
but this is not what I expected at all. Like going in, I kind of thought he would be a philosophical kind of guy and all that, but I had
Hmm.
no idea about the aliens, the brain transplant, the ties to the government. Like he was a former senator,
Yeah. That there was other
speechwriter, some.
concretes out there somewhere in
Yeah,
space
like
or something now.
I figured it was just some sort of a weird happenstance where a rock came alive or something, and now he's just wandering around the world.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like the fact they were calling him a cyborg, I had no idea. I was like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, I was really thrown by the government connections. That really
Yeah.
caught me off guard. But I like the characters. I like their interactions. I like the little world he has. Uh,
Yeah, it's nice that he
so,
has friends that, he can count on in a situation like
yeah.
this.
So I'm glad we experienced the concrete.
Hmm.
Uh, We learned a lot here, including Richard Burton was a scholar and an explorer, and not
That is
just a
the
guy
most
that
important
slept
takeaway.
with Elizabeth Taylor. So
Maybe he also that
I
Richard
think
Burton also did. She's been
I think in
alive a long time.
I think in my head canon, Concrete is just a fan of the actor Richard Burton. That's the way I'm going to leave it. And like when he was a kid in grade school, he was enamored with Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, and he wrote that. So
Uh,
drunk. Yeah,
well, it sounds like his dad had some issues with substances there towards the end, so maybe that's why he's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
this guy reminds me of my daddy.
So, all right. I'll go 8 out of 10 for Concrete.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's probably about right. The art I thought was really good. The writing at times was kind of like the dialogue was a little off and kind of I don't know. The sentence structure was just kind of I don't know, strange and would kind of run into each other. But for the most
Yeah,
part, yeah, I really did think it was pretty good.
yeah. So there you go. Concrete. What do you got for us next week, Jake?
All right. So next week I figured we would do I'm trying to get us, some more subscribers so we can get to that 500 and do some Dark Knight Returns here. So I'm going to call our shot here with a book that I think a lot of people are going to know and recognize from the thumbnail. Not because they love it, not because they're even if they're not comic book fans, I think they'll recognize this one. At least if you're of a certain age, because this was a comic book that I remember being given out free at school several years in a row when I was a
What?
kid. That's right.
Is it about Spider-Man fighting tooth decay? Or what were they giving
Oh,
you?
you're not far off. We're gonna be doing
Yeah.
Spider-Man, Storm and Power Man, uh, where they battle Smokescreen. We're gonna learn how smoking is bad for you.
So what's the title of this? Spider-Man
It's
Storm
just
and
called
Power Man?
Spider-Man, Storm and Power Man. Yeah.
What year?
This, I guess it was first published in 1982, from what I can tell.
I've never heard of this.
Yeah,
And
I don't know. I recognized it right away when I saw the cover. I was like, oh yeah, this
you
thing.
had to go to a pretty awesome school if they're giving you comic books every year.
I know, right?
I didn't get anything, from my school. So
That that awesome team up of Spider-Man, Storm, and Power Man, that classic lineup.
I I didn't even learn about Richard Burton in school. They didn't even teach me that.
didn't get to
So
write any papers on him, let alone ones that could be
no.
bound in leather someday.
So all right, yeah, I'm sure this will get the listeners. Spider-Man, Storm, and Power Man. It's so this will go over huge. There's a lot of people when they go to YouTube, what they search for is Spider-Man, Storm, and Power Man.
They have so much in common.
That is a weird trio.
It
Like,
really is. Like Storm, I get why they're throwing her in there because she could blow away the smoke with her, wind
oh, okay, you
powers.
think it's a power-based thing. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And Luke Cage, I guess,
And
is like,
this
the street guy. He's got to talk tough to people and be like, hey,
this is pre-Mohawk Storm, right? This is
yes.
yeah, so I think so. So this would be
Yeah, this
Earth
is a
Goddess
classic kind
Storm.
of John Byrne kind of
Yeah.
Storm right here.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, they need Spider-Man there just to attract the kids because that's the only one people
Yep.
care about.
That's the one people know. They're
But the
gonna be like,
X-Men
who's
were
Power
very
Man?
popular. The X-Men were very popular
Yeah.
at the time, though. They couldn't put Wolverine in there because he smoked darts. So,
Yep.
but yeah, the Power Man inclusion is strange.
Yeah.
But maybe someone
I feel
owes
like
him two
he's gonna
dollars. Maybe that's the $2.
we can only hope.
Or it's $200. I'm sorry. Yeah, Doctor Doom owed Power Man $200. Better off dead,
Somebody
the
owed him
Paperboy.
a pack of cigarettes.
$2. Uh, all right, that's next week here on the big show. And again, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We appreciate the support. And until next week, don't get any jank on you.